Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's such a joy to have you here again, following this journey of Lie to Diep and James. A love story that has weathered storms, betrayals, and distance, yet still holds the light of faith and tenderness. In today's episode, we'll step into another chapter of their lives. One filled with quiet mornings, distant worries, and the kind of courage that only love can awaken. Will their bond be strong enough to withstand what's coming? Stay until the end to find out, and don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts for Diep and James as they continue their path through both love and hardship. A peaceful morning unfolded on the little farm. The first rays of sunlight slipped gently through the branches of the grapefruit trees, laying golden stripes across the porch. The air smelled of dew and fresh grass, that familiar countryside calm that felt like safety itself. Inside, Diep tied her hair into a loose bun, the strands catching the light as she carried a steaming bowl of noodles to the table. Across the room, little Nhi sat cross-legged on the floor, her cheeks rosy with concentration as she carefully colored a drawing titled, "Happy Family." "Look, Miss Diep, I made Uncle James wear a blue shirt today," she chirped proudly. Diep smiled, warmth glowing in her eyes. "Yes, that looks just like him," she said softly. "He does love blue." Then the little girl looked up, curiosity in her voice. "Miss Diep, why didn't Uncle James come to play with me today?" The smile on Diep's face froze, just for a heartbeat. Her eyes flickered toward the front door, where sunlight still shimmered across the yard. "He's probably busy with work, sweetheart," she said gently. "Let me give him a call." The phone rang once, twice, then silence. She tried again, and again. Only that cold, mechanical voice replied. "The number you have dialed is currently unreachable." Diep stood still. A faint shadow passed through her calm expression. She sighed softly, concealing her worry behind a quiet smile. "Maybe his phone ran out of battery, dear." "I'll try again later." The little girl nodded and returned to her drawing, while Diep went back to the kitchen. The soft clink of metal against the pot echoed in the stillness. A breeze lifted the curtain. And somewhere in that tender silence, a subtle sense of unease began to grow. By afternoon, the sun poured golden light over the fields. The soil glowed warm beneath Diep's feet as she worked, her hands steady and sure. A gentle wind carried the scent of damp earth mixed with grapefruit blossoms. "We'll have to fence this carefully," she said half laughing, hammering bamboo stakes into the ground. "Otherwise, the chickens will ruin it again." Her conical hat tilted slightly as a drop of sweat rolled down her cheek. Behind her, little Nhi skipped through the soil, leaving perfect tiny footprints in the dirt. Miss Diep, let me help. I'm really good at planting. Diep turned, laughter lighting her face. All right, but make sure you plant them in straight rows, okay? Otherwise, when they grow crooked, Uncle James will tease us again. The child giggled, pressing seedlings into the ground, mud streaking her small hands and cheeks. Their laughter mingled with the song of sparrows perched on the fence, simple, unhurried joy. Beyond them stretched the grapefruit grove James had planted the year before. The leaves shimmered in the fading light, each tree heavy with ripening fruit, a living testament to their love and persistence. Diep paused, leaning on her shovel, squinting toward the far hill. I wonder if James bought all the land up to that slope, she murmured. NHI didn't answer, lost in her play. Diep pulled out her phone again, once. Twice. The same cold voice. The number you have dialed is currently unreachable. Her heart tightened. She smiled anyway. He must be busy, she whispered to the quiet fields. As the light dimmed, shadows stretched long across the soil, and somewhere between the breeze and the rustling leaves, an invisible worry began to settle deep inside her. The next morning, sunlight flooded the grapefruit orchard. The air hummed with cicadas. Diep and NHI worked side by side, their laughter floating through the leaves. Be careful, sweetheart, not under the big trees. Diep warned, twisting the long fruit pole just right so a golden grapefruit dropped softly into her hand. Here, try this one, it's perfect. NHI peeled it eagerly, juice running down her fingers. Miss Diep, it's sweeter than candy, Diep chuckled, wiping the child's face with a handkerchief. As they worked, she looked out over the orchard, hundreds of trees James had once planted, now heavy with fruit. Every leaf seemed to whisper his name. When the baskets were full, they loaded the cart and headed for the village market. The dirt road was uneven, but laughter filled the air. The faint scent of grapefruit mixed with straw, sun, and dust, the fragrance of an honest day's work. At the market, Diep arranged the fruits neatly under an old awning. Sweet grapefruits here. Only 15,000 each, fragrant and juicy. Her cheerful voice drew curious shoppers. These are real country grapefruits, juicy, not bitter at all, a woman exclaimed. Little NHI handled the sales, packing fruit into paper bags, bowing politely, cheeks flushed with pride. Thank you, miss. Hope you enjoy it. An elderly woman passing by smiled fondly. What a sweet child. She'll grow up clever and kind, just like her mother. Diep smiled softly. She's not my real daughter, she said gently, but she's my heart. The woman nodded, walking away with quiet grace. The stall gleamed under the midday light, the grapefruits glowing like treasure. Yet amid the chatter and laughter, Diep's eyes drifted toward the distant road, the one leading to the city. Still no message from James. She didn't call this time, she just smiled faintly, whispering to the wind. James, have you eaten yet? By late afternoon, they pushed the empty cart home. Only a few fruits rolled softly inside, squeaking in rhythm with the wheels. The air smelled of burnt straw, that sweet, nostalgic scent of home. Miss Diep, we sold so many today. NHI cheered, waving the small money pouch. Diep smiled, pride shining in her tired eyes. Yes, it's all thanks to you, sweetheart. They stopped by a modest clothing shop. I'll buy a sweater for Grandma, Diep said. Winter's coming soon, her joints ache when it's cold. NHI darted through the racks, inspecting sweaters like a tiny stylist. This red one, Miss Diep. It's perfect for Grandma, Diep laughed. You've got such good taste. At the counter, she noticed a pink dress, simple, soft, and lovely. How about this one for you? She asked gently. But NHI shook her head, clutching Diep's sleeve. No, Miss Diep. You don't have much money left. I only need one dress. The words hit harder than she expected. Diep knelt down, pulling the girl into her arms. Her hand trembled slightly as she brushed Nye's hair. It's okay, my dear. One day, I'll buy you all the pretty clothes you want. I don't need many, NHI whispered, smiling. I just need you. Diep turned away, blinking back tears, pretending to adjust the shopping bag. Outside, temple bells echoed through the dusk, calm, ancient, and comforting. They walked home under the crimson sky, their shadows long on the dusty road. At the end stood their small house nestled in the grapefruit garden, still glowing faintly in the twilight. Inside, the warmth of waiting lingered. Far away, a car stopped at the edge of a forest road. James stepped out, carrying only a backpack and a phone with no signal. He wanted to leave it all, the company, the pressure, the endless boardroom battles. Ahead stretched rolling hills, a narrow stream winding through the valley, the air alive with the scent of wild grass. He followed the stream until it opened into a clearing. The sunset spread across the sky like fire. James sat on a rock, watching his reflection tremble in the water. A weary man with eyes that once held ambition, now filled with quiet sorrow. My father used to say, he murmured, that money defines a man. That love is a weakness. He gave a small, bitter smile. But Diep, she showed me what happiness really means. With her, I'm just me. No power, no title, just a man who feels alive. A gust of wind swept through, scattering leaves and a small photograph from his wallet. He caught it, a faded picture of Diep, NHI, and himself in the orchard. His thumb brushed the edge. I'd rather start from nothing than live another day in that cage. As the last light faded behind the mountains, James stood tall. The wind howled through the valley, but his voice was steady. I'll protect them. Whatever it takes. He remembered everything, the first time he saw Diep working under the sun, her hands rough but graceful. The day she fainted from exhaustion, and how he carried her down the hill, praying she would live. Her first word upon waking, James. Then the collapse of his empire, the betrayal from within. The loss of everything he once thought mattered. And through it all, Diep stayed, with bread, with faith, with love. You can earn money again, she told him. But don't lose yourself. He remembered when she fell ill, how he nursed her for days, whispering, please get better. She had smiled weakly. When I recover, I'll plant a whole orchard for you. Then came the night they found little NHI, shivering by the gate. She needs a home, Diep had said softly. And maybe, so do we. From that night, they became a family, not bound by blood, but by love. Their laughter by the grapefruit trees was worth more than every deal James had ever signed. Now, under the star-filled sky, James knelt by his small campfire. The flames danced in his eyes, no longer the eyes of an heir, but of a man reborn. Diep, he whispered, holding the photo close, you're the most beautiful part of my life. Even if the world turns away, I'll still choose you. The wind answered softly through the trees. Tomorrow, he would return. No more running. No more silence. Only truth, love, and the courage to protect what truly mattered. And so, as the fire dimmed into embers, the night settled, quiet, heavy, and full of promises. What awaits James when he returns? Will he reclaim his place, or lose everything to the darkness gathering around his father's empire? Stay tuned for the next episode, the confrontation in the dark, where long-buried secrets will finally come to light. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts for Diep and James in the comments. Sometimes, love isn't about the battles you win, but the ones you never stop fighting for.